Across WA, this is Spirit Drive, thanks to Chandler McLeod Group, your mining and resources recruitment specialists. Many vacancies. Apply today. cmgjobs.com.au.
Right across Western Australia, you are on Spirit Drive, and we've reached a very significant milestone today. It was on this day 100 years ago, July the 4th, 1918, when Australian and American soldiers fought side by side in the Battle of Hamel. It may have lasted all but 93 minutes under the command of Australian General John Monash, but it's still considered the turning point for Allied victory in World War I. Ever since, the Americans and Australians have enjoyed a very solid bond through thick and thin. And capturing the importance of this is respected Australian journalist and broadcaster Mike Munro. His new documentary is called Mateship, Australia and the USA, A Century Together. And it premieres tonight, appropriately, on the History Channel. Mike, welcome back to Spirit Drive.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Nice to talk to you again.
Mike, congratulations on this new project, and I guess speaking of mateship, you're developing a rather close one with the Foxtel team in delivering and producing this type of factual programming.
Yeah, it is. It's for me, it's so exciting. Foxtel, and the History Channel are so intent on producing high-quality, credible history programs, and the documentary world is a completely new one for me, Matt. So. It's a whole new career, so I'm very excited about it.
What ultimately got you to put up your hand and take on a project like this?
Look, I lived in America for 2 years. I was I was in newspapers 15 years before television, so I was a newspaper correspondent writing on stories about America for English and Australian newspapers. So I have a close association with America. I've still got very good friends in New York. And I've covered, numerous stories in America over the years for 60 Minutes and other programs. So, I know about it, and I've covered Afghanistan and Iraq and Vietnam. I was close to. I used to wag school to go to Vietnam rallies, and then found myself as a second-year cadet in journalism, wondering whether I would be in the next call-up to go to Vietnam and stop my whole career. But Whitlam got in, and I didn't go to Vietnam. So all these things are tied up with my life and career, really.
How important has this centenary-old friendship been in the growth and development of both nations?
I think it's been tremendously important. I mean, you mentioned John Monash, our wonderful, wonderful general, probably the best general we've ever had. In honour of the Americans, he launched the Battle of Hamel against the Germans on Independence Day, 100 years ago today. I think in doing that, he wanted to give the inexperienced American soldiers, very inexperienced soldiers, some confidence in the battle. And of course, they were going up next to the battle-hardened Australians, irreverent. If you couldn't match them, then they didn't give you the time of day. And the Americans turned up in their brand new uniform with lots of money and lots of gadgets. And there's the Aussies in their ragtag uniforms, battle-hardened for 3 or 4 years, and irreverent as always. But what transpired is they loved the Americans' enthusiasm. And the Americans threw themselves at the Germans in such a way that the Australians said, hey, guys, you've got to slow down. Follow us a little bit more, and you'll survive. Otherwise, they're going to kill you all. And from that moment on, I think through then World War II and Korea and Vietnam and Afghanistan and Iraq, Australians, boots on the ground. I'm not just talking about not just leaders, but the men themselves who saved each other's lives countless times, thousands of times over all those years. It's a mateship that no leaders or any foreign affairs department can ever pull down.
Well, while it is very important to recognise and celebrate this friendship, I guess there are some critics who may think we've become too Americanised. That term usually has a negative connotation. Do you think there have been times where this relationship has been to our detriment?
Oh, sure, absolutely, and we deal with that. This documentary is not just a slavish adoration of America, Matt. It's we deal with the fact that Whitlam and Nixon during the Vietnam War were never going to be friends. They were from opposite extremes and made it very clear. Whereas Holt and Lyndon Johnson loved each other. John Howard and George W. Bush had a great relationship. But Malcolm Turnbull and Donald Trump did not hit it off well
Yes.
in that initial phone call. There are always going to be ups and downs. There was a World War II very respected Australian general called General Blamey who did not get on well with General MacArthur during the whole Pacific and New Guinea campaigns. There are times when, and culturally, the Americans have given us, this is my own personal view, but have given us fast food. I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So there are good and bad things, but whatever you say, we are so similar in so many ways that mateship, that camaraderie, I don't think will ever dissipate.
I'm sure they do appreciate the fact we've taken over Hollywood as well. But with the people, though, you've spoken to in this documentary, how do they see this friendship continue to play out, I guess, in the next century? Yeah, no, good question. Look, exactly. I think we are now at a crossroads, and really only over the last 48 hours, you'll know there's been a lot of talk from both sides criticising our treatment of China, that we have to get closer to China, that we're too close to China, we have security to worry about. We have the Spratly Islands in South China Sea. We've got trade tariff wars going on, and of course we're throwing everything, all our goods and shackles in with America. I think we have to be more careful. I think we have to not slavishly follow anyone. I think we have to maintain our principles and our objectives, and be ourselves. Be that Aussie, who speaks their mind and tries to do the right thing, and not just follow the big guns. And I think America and China and India, those three are going to be the giants over the next 100 years, and we have to try and walk that tightrope between the three of them. I'm having a chat with respected Australian journalist Mike Munro. His new documentary, Mateship, Australia and the USA, A Century Together, debuts tonight on the History Channel. We've got plenty more to talk about right after this on Spirit Drive.
On the Spirit. Matt Layton driving you home.
Mike Munro is my special guest this hour on Spirit Drive right across Western Australia. He's got a brand new documentary, Mateship, Australia and the USA, tonight on the History Channel. Mike, the last time we actually caught up, I believe, was around the time the deal had been done for CBS to take over Network 10. Oh, look, another American-Australian partnership right there. Since then, though, I guess just the other night we saw 60 Minutes, a program you had a long connection with, enter the Logies Hall of Fame. I'm aware the 40th birthday is officially next year, but for a show to continue its long, incredible innings, have you been able to personally acknowledge and, I guess, raise a glass to that milestone?
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I wasn't able to go the other night to the Hall of Fame. It was my anniversary, and we're also celebrating on one of my grandson's birthday party, he turned 3. But I'm very chuffed about the Hall of Fame award, and it's well deserved. I think 60 Minutes has done some wonderful work over the years. And I think it was lovely to see Gerald Stone and Jana Venter and my peers at the time who were there. And it really, 60 Minutes is Channel 9, and Channel 9 is 60 Minutes. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful tribute to a fantastic program that millions of Australians have loved over the years. I congratulate them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we definitely know the media landscape is changing here in Australia, and it is a testament to 60 Minutes that it's still surviving. But do you hope that the type of documentaries you're making at the moment for Foxtel could also become part of the norm again on commercial television?
Yes, I do, Matt. I do. I think, I think too much in the area of film and certainly television is being run by lawyers and bean counters. I get into trouble for this all the time. But, like the Aussie mateship, we've got to speak our mind. And I do think that, journalism is suffering generally around the country. That there are too many stories being broken by the ABC and SBS and not enough by free-to-air. It's all very well to buy a politician's interview about his personal life, as happened recently, but to really break investigative stories and make people sit up and talk, I think we've got to try and go back to those days. But I don't blame journalism. I blame the bean counters who are cutting all the budgets back and not able to do so. I mean, I remember in our day we might have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a story, chasing it for months and months and months, that still went to air.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen these days, and unfortunately, maybe it never will again. I don't know, but I'm hoping it will.
Yeah, we'll certainly see how the media pans out in the next 100 years and beyond. But of course, mateship Australia and the USA, a century together. It's on this evening, 5:30 Western Australia time. It's only on Foxtel's History Channel. You can also stream it on demand. Mike Munro, you're never a bore. You're always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Matt, you too, mate. And thank you again for your support.
That is Mike Munro as we mark 100 years of the close bonds that unite Australia and the United States. We're back soon on Spirit Drive.